To introduce our next speaker, I'll request Mr. Dhaval Ingle to join us on stage.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Siddharth Vasudevan, sir, the Managing Director of VASCON Engineers Limited, a Fortune Next 500 company listed on both BSE and NSE. Under Mr. Siddharth's leadership, VASCON engineers are expanded into various sectors including real estate, EPC, manufacturing and hospitality, delivering more than 50 million square feet across more than 23 cities. The impressive portfolio includes residential, commercial, industrial and institutional projects, with notable recent highlights being the PMAY in Pune and an airport in Jalandhar, Punjab, both inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. Siddharth holds a degree in construction management from Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology and has professional experience from Singapore. He furthered his education with a postgraduate degree from IIT Bombay and an executive MBA from Washington University in St. Louis. His dedication to customer service and quality delivery recently earned him a cover feature in Business Asia Pacific. Additionally, Mr. Siddharth serves on the managing committee of CREDAI Pune, overseeing the construction cost committee. His contributions have been recognized with numerous awards, including the Real Estate Icon of Pune by the Times of India, Achievers of Maharashtra by the Sakar Group, the Lokmat Vishwakarma Award, and the Engineering Excellence Award from ICEM. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Siddharth Vasudevan. Thank you.
Wow, that just felt like I won another award. But thank you so much for the warm welcome. And I have two presentations to share with you. One is actually also, sir, to show you all the power of CREDAI. I mean, you all already know it, but this is something that we've done in Pune that we're very happy about. And what we did is this presentation. There are 7 developers who got together and shared their real-time construction data, based on which we arrived at a simple formula for what is cost of construction for a 70-meter building in Pune. This wouldn't have been possible if the developers were not forthcoming. And you know, this is the real strength of CREDAI that I was talking about. So I'm going to run through this slide. The second thing that I'm going to do is talk on a G+12 building and the costing on that. And the third thing that I'm going to do is the learnings that we have from it and some simple suggestions which will help us to save cost. So, you know, I'm not going to spend more time on this. I'm going to just run this. Okay, let's. So this is the basic information about the building, that we have this project and everyone is giving their costing numbers based on these numbers that are there. One request to everyone is, don't focus too much on the cost numbers because you all are from different cities. So the cost numbers will not necessarily be the same that is on the slides over here. But I would really like you all to focus on the detail that has gone into this to make this presentation happen. We engaged a professional estimator to do this. So this is how it works. So these are the different heads under which the costs were covered. So like you can see, I'm not going to read each and every one of them, but you can see that it's an extensive cost that has been captured over here. So it starts with royalty. Before I start this, construction cost. One thing that I want to tell you is that what we have considered is everything that goes on site. There is no office overhead. We've kept that out because companies that are big have different overheads. Companies that are small have different overheads. We've kept approval costs out because different people do it different ways. So these are all the costs that you incur on site, including direct, indirect, the entire gamut of it. Okay. So I'm just going to run through, like you can see, backfilling, if you took it from inside, outside, and then there are rates, and then there is also remarks on what are the assumptions that are taken. So this made it a very apple-to-apple comparison for all the developers. And these are some of the names which stand with pride and prestige in Pune and in the country. Some of the people who gave this information are people like the Magarpatta group, Pride Purple group, my own organization. So, good names in the organization came together to make this happen. And then you can see for each and every item, we've put our assumptions, what are the average rates, we've run through every point that is there. And then with this, I'm just going to quickly run through this. This is what was one of the conclusions, that for RCC work, where are the different heads in which the cost is going? So if we are talking about reinforcement, what is it? If it's about concrete, the cost. So every head. And similarly, we did this with finishing works. So everything in detail. This is very extensive. If, like you can see, right from, if you did gypsum ceiling, what it is, Birla Patti, the entire thing we've just captured. Waterproofing, you can see that there are 3 different types of waterproofing that we've captured. So this is the typical way of working in Pune, what we've tried to do. Of course, there are other developers who will do it slightly differently, but we've actually captured costs for everything. So tiling, trimix work, the entire thing. Now, when we're doing things like this, we assume certain things which generally get left out. So when we talk about doors also, we even consider the office door of the site office that we hand over. So, this is the kind of stuff that we do. We are coming up with coefficients for all of this, that for a 2 lakh square feet building, how much should be my glazing cost? How much should be this? These are standard SOPs, which we should, then we know where we stand in cost, because architects, of course, will give us their vision of it. But we should know in cost where we stand, because they are not responsible for our profits. We are responsible for our own profits. So fabrication works. And here you can see this, what is the percentage of cost going in all of these heads. So even if you're doing a G+9 structure, and I'm going to just be on this slide for a second, even if you're doing a G+9 structure, G+12 structure, or a G+1, 2 basement podium, 120 meter building, whatever may be your sequence, your numbers should be somewhere in this range. This is what our take from this entire assignment was. So this is finishing. Similarly, you can see we've captured everything, right from video door phone, expansion joints, letterbox. Generally, in our cost, these kind of things don't come. Then we end up spending on it. And in cities where profits are less, all this just eats from our profit. So if we know this on day one, we are able to capture this on day one, then going forward, we won't have so many challenges when we start realizing later that profits are not where we expected them to be. So this is how we do it. For services also, plumbing, the electrical, it's all covered over here this way. And then we see the different services and what are the costs that are there for each of this. And then the final thing over here is development work. So how do we do it? How much do we spend on swimming pool, on our lobbies, hardscape areas, top terrace if you do amenities, what are the amenities you can do, and what is the cost that it will come to, and the miscellaneous works. So this is basically, like you can see, we've covered an A to Z of everything. Okay, and these are indirect costs that are there, which is safety, quality, all of these things that have come through. And the consultant's cost. So basically, this is the way we do our study. And if you can just move to the next presentation while I talk about this. The reason we did this, I have to tell you, in Pune, when we talk about construction costs, and one of the most common questions that I get asked is, what is your cost for, say, 70-meter building? And I ask them that, what is your cost? What is it coming to? And I get answers varying from 1,800 rupees a square feet to 3,500 rupees a square feet. And the thing is that neither of these are wrong. It is what is assumed in this 1,800 rupees and 3,500 rupees that made the difference. Because the person who is saying 1,800 rupees is talking about RCC brickwork, plaster and waterproofing. The person who is talking about 3,500 rupees a square foot is talking about my presentation. So we are not on the same, we are not on the same page when we are talking about this. When we go to buy a car, we know only one figure. That is it. We don't know how much steering costs. We don't know how much, an engine costs or anything. But when we talk in real estate, why do we talk like this? Like, how does it matter what RCC, brickwork, plaster, and waterproofing is? What matters is where I am at the end of the day when I finish my project, get my OC, and I'm handing over. At that time, that cost which has hit me, that is what matters. But I'll tell you why people talk about this 1,800 rupees is that is when 90% of their payment comes in. And that is the reason they talk about that. But I feel that's a very unfair thing, and that is the reason this entire presentation is made, is to make people understand that we should be talking on final figures and not on some arbitrary in-between figure. So with this, I'm going to talk about one of the projects which we recently completed. This is a G+12 project. It's executed by us just recently. It was inaugurated by the Honorable PM in August last year. And these are the stats of the project. There are in total around 1,100 units, but we are only going to talk about one building, so we get costing of one building in it. So this is basically how we did it. So just a brief background, we won this tender from the Pune Municipal Corporation. So it's an EPC project, so the costs over here are fixed on day one. It was a design and build project, which means Pune Municipal Corporation gave us the architectural design, and we took over from there. So the structural design, MEP design, to execution of project, everything was left to us from that point of view. And not only us, but even corporation won a lot of laurels for it. Vikram Kumar sir was called to PMO and he was appreciated for it. So this is, it's become a model project for other PMAY projects. And again, so this is the complete scope that was in our hands. So here, of course, one caveat is that the consultancy is slightly low because, like I said, the architectural design was of Pune Municipal Corporation, so we didn't have architects' fee over there. But the rest of it is all done by us. And this is the kind of costing that we did. We gave it to them to win the bid. So we got this by coming L1. So the bid is a closely fought bid between 4 other competitors. And then, I think there's something. I'll go to the pie chart on the last slide. Like you can see again, unlike the other presentation where I did everything in detail, I've kept this brief so that there's not too much drama with the numbers and it's easier to see. But this is how we costed and what it came in per square feet basis against that. Yeah. And then, so this pie chart may look off, and that's why I don't want to spend time on it, because that is, the percentage is shown is not out of 100 on that, it is on the total cost of the project. This is the kind of thing for, the other indirect costs like electrification, lifts, solar, all of this. And this is basically where it typically ends. And finally, where we ended up is here. So the total cost of the project, including our profits and everything put together, came in at around 1522 rupees a square foot. So it's quite an aggressive bid that we did, but it's also worth our while eventually. And if you see, this is the project that I would like to, the pie chart that I would like to dwell on. The civil work was almost 50% of cost over here. The finishing work came in at around 17.5%. MEP came in at almost 12%. The indirect costs, overhead, salaries, all of these things came in at, again, 11%. And infra costs came in at 10%. So this is the ballpark figure on which we have been working. This is in line with some of the older projects that we've done. And, I think if we are in this range, our costs will be optimized, is what is the understanding that we have come to. So some of the few things that we learned from this, and some of these things are very interesting, so I'll share it with you. The strata level and the soil bearing capacity. Generally we don't like excavating, correct? We don't want to excavate a single inch more than what is necessary. But having back-ended a structural engineering company with us, one thing I can tell you is I am happy to excavate half or 1 meter more if I get a better soil bearing capacity, then try to do a raft or piles from that 1 meter higher, however surprising this may be. Because the higher the soil bearing capacity, the easier it is for us to take loads, and therefore the concrete mix design and the RCC design changes dramatically. This is something we don't really pay attention to. We just listen to our structural engineer and say, okay, this is the best that he has given us, so we should do it. Many of us are in that situation where we say, we are working with so-and-so for the last 25 years, so he'll give us the best. And I don't doubt that. I really don't doubt that. But are we updated with what's really happening? And is this kind of thing really going to make sense? And you'll be really surprised how much difference that 1 meter makes. Again, the basement and multi-level car park, there's, for cities like Pune, we have always a debate on whether we should make a separate multi-level car park or whether it should be part of the building, with a podium on top. These are decisions which really impact costs. And in many instances, we've seen on larger projects, making a multi-level car park is far more economical than doing, a podium or a basement under all your 7, 8 buildings. It makes a big difference. Having said that, one downside to this, and which I would like everyone to consider, is you have to see whether your customer acceptance to a multi-level car park building is. Because generally we, by culture, want our parking right below our house. Okay, it's changing, but it's not there yet. Again, PT slab versus RCC slab. PT slab being expensive is now a myth. Okay, it is like, everyone remembers when LED came into the market. It was extremely expensive, none of us could use it, correct? Today it has become like a standard norm. Almost everywhere people are using LED lights. CFL is almost become unheard of and obsolete. Similarly, we've come to that stage, I feel, in PT also, where PT slabs have come to that cost efficiency because of the volume of work that is being done by different people across the country, that contractors are able to give very competitive rates. And we should not just, brush this under the carpet ki nahi mehenga hai yaar, nahi karna hai. I think it's a time where we should consider, and we should take a quotation including this. Worst come to worst, kya hoga ki it will show that it is slightly expensive and you may choose to ignore it. But my highest recommendation is that we don't ignore this thing. The next point of smart fire planning is that many people are doing fire movement over slabs. And this is a very expensive affair. So as far as possible, our fire tender access should be on ground level rather than on any slab that we cast. And that will save us a lot of money. Shuttering system. This is something where we have done a lot of R&D, and I'm going to tell you something we do. It may fall under the category of, our Indian jugaad, but it works perfectly for us. Everyone knows that aluminum formwork is expensive. There's no two doubts about that. And because of that, second thing is that without repetition, we are not able to recover the cost of aluminum formwork. These are two known devils that all of us have to face. It doesn't matter which city you're from or what is the type of building you're doing. So we came up with a system which is kind of a hybrid system. And we said कि we want aluminum formwork, but we don't want that kind of investment. तो क्या करना है? So we closed ourselves in a room, thought about it, and we came up with this solution. In what we have seen in our own projects is that the slabs that we are doing with plywood, with good quality plywood, gives us form finish. Okay, that is what is happening in my projects. Whereas my problem is in the vertical members. So we came up with a hybrid system where for all vertical members, we are going to use aluminum formwork, but for the slab, we are going to use plywood as the base. It works fantastically well. We don't achieve 3-day slab cycles and 4-day slab cycles, but I'm not here to prove my engineering prowess to anyone. I'm here to finish the building efficiently. This thing. The second thing is that we won't be casting slab and the vertical members together, which is fine with me. So we've accepted those two part of it. We've accepted that if you can do in my one in 7 days, I will take 8 days, and that 1 day doesn't hurt me much. So we've taken these pros and cons into action. But what we are doing now is that we are splitting buildings into 4 parts, and we are buying my one only for 25%, and we are rotating it. So what people need 1.5 sets to do my one, I am doing it in 0.25. So the investment that I'm putting in, the number of repetitions that I'm getting is multifold, and I am able to get the returns of that, I am able to recover in that project itself. Because here's the math. If you buy 1.25 times my one, that is, you can cast only 1 floor per time, which means in a 12-story building, you'll get 12 repetitions. Whereas when I'm doing 4 repetitions per floor, in that same 12-story building, I'm going to get 48 repetitions. So see how I'm recovering my investments much quicker just by doing part of this. So, so sometimes we come up across with these kind of innovations which really help, in bringing the investment cost, the capex down. And yeah, another thing we ignore is shaft sizes. Shaft sizes has been the last 2 points have been, something that I've always been fighting about. I always feel that shaft sizes are obnoxiously large from what they need to be. And that hits our loading very, very badly. So this is something that generally we don't ask our architects, we don't ask our consultants, कि इतना बड़ा shaft क्यों चाहिए? It's such a simple question, but if we ask this question to the right people, they will come back to you and say that, no, I can reduce this by whatever, X percentage. And that really helps us. So sometimes we need to ask these kind of questions. And the last one is also grade of concrete. There is a school of thought that we are over-designing buildings. And I subscribe to that school of thought being an engineer. I think that structural engineers, everyone want to play it much safer than they should be playing it over here. And the impact of that comes on to people like us who have money in the game. So many times I have to fight with them and say that, why do I need this? Prove it to me. Why am I doing this? And to me, why is the most powerful question? Because every time I ask why, I get some answer out of it. So that is something that I really want to share, that, we should be asking this why question a lot. And here's what happens. When we want cost of project, we always look outside. When we are doing our own projects, we have our own data, everything is with us in-house. Why don't we use our data effectively to cost our own buildings? Why do we need a professional estimator? Why do we need someone from outside? Why do you need me to tell you how much are you doing this building? The data is in your own thing. So we are not data mining well enough. Herschel said data is the new oil. The oil is in our own office and we are looking outside. So this is something that we should be doing very effectively. So this is the second thing about admin. I think it's self-explanatory. Learning from old projects. This is a second thing that, if there is a takeaway today, then this is something that I would like you to take away. In my own office, in the past, what used to happen is that we used to all make mistakes, which is fine. We are human. And then we say that we want to learn from them. But by the time the project is over, the people who have been on that project have left us, gone somewhere else. And who do we learn from? जिससे सीखना है वो तो ऑफिस में है ही नहीं. So we came up with a proper SOP of every mistake that has been done and how we overcame it. So now these learnings are with me. Nobody has taken it outside. Nobody has forgotten about it. 4 साल बाद मैं किसी को पूछ नहीं रहा हूँ कि अरे ये प्रोजेक्ट में क्या गड़बड़ हुआ था. It happened, we solved it. This is how we solved it. And this is my learning that I will not do in the next project. We put a system to our mistakes. Okay. And the cost saving from this, I cannot put it in numbers, obviously. It's a very intangible thing, sorry. But the cost saving from this, I can tell you, is humongous. Because now when we sit to plan our projects, and we sit with that book, and we say that, see, these mistakes we don't want, and in design we take care of it, the whole dynamics of costing changes. This is a thumb rule that most of us like to follow in Pune. It's not a hard and fast construction finance. You can do it your way. You're all masters of your own game, so I won't get into that. But this is ideally what we would like to see. I know it is dependent a lot on sales, so I won't talk about that. And batching plant, I'll kind of ignore for now because it's only for larger projects. We can't do it for smaller. Yeah, this one thing, again, I'm very critical on. I like this topic a lot and I can go on it forever, but the timer says 10 minutes, so I'm going to. Maintenance costs and maintenance of project is a very, very critical item for us. Not for the clients, of course, but for us. All of us are putting our name to our buildings. And if our people cannot maintain that building and you take someone there 5 years later, it reflects badly on you, on me, however much you like it or don't like it. This is the reality. We have to accept this. If we start giving people fancy water features and some vertical wall of garden which goes for 30 meters high, it won't even last 3 months after handover. Because when it comes to cost cutting, which societies are masters of doing, or they believe they are masters of doing, first thing they will do is, वो pump बंद करो, इसका AMC मत भरो, and ये green wall तो छोड़ ही दो. Okay, but the name on the building is mine. Okay, so this we have to take real care of. Yes, certain things are important for saleability of the building, and I'm not going to say that it's not important. But how much do we want to do, and how are people going to ensure that my brand name on that building looks good for a longer period of time, is something we should take into consideration from day one. Okay. Standardization, again, this is something which I love this thing. I've been doing this a lot in Singapore, and it comes, the results are surprising, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. when we first started one of our most prestigious projects, and the architect obviously went haywire because it was a high-end project, he had given us 49 different window opening sizes, okay, in one project, 49. And I saw that and I said, I'm not going to do more than 10. You do whatever you want. I'm going to keep this under 10. So he fought with me. He said, such a big project, you don't want to do this. I said, no, I don't want to do this. I want only 10 types of windows, including my bathroom openings, including everything. And then he sat, he got back into it. The saving of this is in crores. The second advantage that I got is that because there was standardization of material, my vendor was able to deliver to me faster. Because he had only those 8, 9, 10 items to do. He didn't have 49 to do anymore. So in both ways, I benefited. Ease of construction, again, is a very critical item. We are all fighting labor. I think this is an evergreen pain point that all of us have. And therefore, when we get into design and we sit with architects and with structural designers, one of the first questions we should ask is my design construction friendly? Because the lesser work my labor has to do, the faster I can finish it. The lesser work my labor has to do, the lesser labor I require. And therefore, finishing this faster is going to be more beneficial for me. It's important for my reputation as well. So, this point is very important. The next point on elevation I want to say is that elevational features are important. I'm not going to say that we should not spend on elevations or anything of this. But sometimes we get sold something from a marketing angle which doesn't really make sense. Like recently, one of the architects said, see this is the bird's eye view of this project. So I told him, लेकिन ये bird's eye view तो bird को मिलेगा ना, मुझे तो नीचे से देखना है. I'm going to be on the ground. So don't give me from bird's eye, a view which is at 50 meters in the sky. That is not what I want. You show me what I'm seeing from the ground. You show me what people are going to see, and let us focus on those kind of things. So we should not get carried away by these fancy terms sometimes. The basic funda of all this is that we have to just keep it simple. The traffic analysis of lifts. Sometimes, we've got into situations where we were doing 4 lifts of 2 meters per second. And then we did an analysis and we realized that we need 3 lifts of 2.5 meters a second. So we were able to not only eliminate 1 lift, but the entire RCC that goes with it, the shaft that goes with it, everything got knocked off just by increasing that 0.5 meter per second. Obviously, we paid a little more for the lift, but in comparison to the work that I got eliminated, this was a far more beneficial thing that happened. Again, this comes to standardization on tiles. If we have room sizes like 11 feet, 10 inches, 11 feet, we're always cutting those pieces, or 12 feet, 2 inches. We know if our tile size is 2 by 2, then you're going to get those pattas, extra work, they're never in a straight line, it looks odd. Those kind of things we can avoid in design itself if we take it up front. Also, there have been a lot of interesting things that developers have done with, tile wastages. I remember like a senior developer telling me that from the cutout they do in the wash basin of the granite, that they use that as stepping stones in the landscape. So we can start reinventing all these kind of things, which eventually come as cost savings, but they're very smart ways of doing it, and you're not cutting corners really to do it. So project planning, I think I've touched on. Wastage factors. Yeah, unit layout now, the new hot topic on this is the grid system, and I think the next one is this. This is a simple design. World over, all residential commercial units are based on the grid of the parking. We don't do it this way. Okay, we do our flat design, and then we go back and see कि parking efficiency कहाँ से लेके आना है. Correct? So this is the reverse thinking in all of this. This is a 1 BHK that was designed uh, by an international architect. So what he did first is he took 3 car parks. Okay. And then he broke that into 3 parts. One is the rest zone, entertainment zone, service zone. And then what he pushed onto is the flat layout. So when you want to do, say, a bigger hall or something, he used the driveways because driveways are wider than the car park. So, this kind of intelligent thinking also saves design. It's not possible everywhere, but these are innovations that have been there forever, which we have to start consider using because costs have become a very critical angle to our profits. Steel grade is, I think this is very technical. So, sorry. Use of couplers. GGBS is the new trend which a lot of developers have picked up, from tier 2, tier 3 cities. It's always been around over here, but this thing. Okay, now, sir, with your permission, I am going to take 3 brands that have helped technology innovate, which have helped us innovate the way we are doing business. They are technologies, but I won't be able to do it without their names. So if it is okay, then this, because I know we have sponsors as well, but it's nothing to do with them. The first one, what we're using is SAP. I am going to tell you outright right here, SAP is not for construction at all. And you'll ask me, why are we doing it? Because in 2010, when we were listing our company, we used to get asked only 2 questions. Sorry, not when we were listing, when we were bidding for 250 crore kind of jobs. We used to get 2 questions. Are you listed and are you on SAP? And that is where SAP came into our system. We love this system. We don't, this, but it's just too rigid to use. So, but there are a lot of real estate friendly ERPs that are in the market today. And these save costs where you can't really say how, but they really help the system in many ways. And those are the few things that have happened, that we have increased control. Everything's become system driven. Today there is hardly any manual interpretation of anything that happens in our organization. The whole loop is on this single thing. Transparency and accountability is something, that we as owners of the company, we enjoy. And this is true of any ERP system. So whether you're using, A or B or whatever, it just brings it in. And the speed of doing things, because today SAP tells me that if a purchase order has, an indent has been raised, but purchase order has not been raised, I can find out where the delay in the system is as an owner. So that dashboard that SAP gives me is a very effective dashboard. And it's come to a stage where today, we have so much trust in the system that as an organization, only purchase orders of about 25 lakh rupees are released by me. Everything else is done by people in the system. We don't even get into what is happening, how it's happening, because the dashboard gives us the information that we want, and it gives people the empowerment what they need to work. The second one is DGQC. There are similar ones like this, one of our older sponsors, Falcon Brakes, etc., etc. See, quality on site is something, the cost saving comes in our 5-year DLP of RERA. If you've done things right, if you have quality control, if you've got that right, your cost savings are that you don't have to do repair work and you don't have to keep going back to doing repair work. And this is what DGQC has gone in. It monitors each activity. Everything is photographic evidence based. So nobody can tell me कि मैंने ये rectify कर दिया. If someone is saying that he has rectified, he has to give me the, I can just check it sitting in my office because it's a photograph that's been uploaded on site. One thing on this is, please do not eliminate site visits because of this. Even though I can get information of my site, whether I'm in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, wherever, but site visit is very critical to ensure that your staff is performing. So don't use this as an elimination of that, but more as a secondary check. The third thing is that, like today, most structural consultants don't check every slab of ours. They come once in a while and check. Because of this, now photographs are being sent to the structural consultant. He gives his comment from his office. So mistakes that can be eliminated just by this is fantastic. So like I said, all that comes to cost saving. The third one that I want to talk about is a website that we're using. This is something that's very interesting. Anup is here. I think few of my other friends from CREDAI Pune are here. One of the most common things on our WhatsApp group is, can you give me a vendor for XYZ? Do you have an agency for XYZ? And that is where we've come up with something, which is a vendor database which has, I think today has more than 10,000 vendors. And you can find vendors from excavation to finishing just by using this. You can, we've onboarded them to such a way that all our purchase orders are being placed through this. And the kind of information that I get out of it, which is very important for me as an owner, is who are we placing our purchase orders to? So what happens is that with a purchase team, they have their preferred vendors and they want to place orders with them. So they are not exploring the vendor universe that is there. They are happy with those 2-3 vendors, 3 quote liya, inhi se lena hai, and they'll keep that cycle going. Which also means that in many ways there is a chance of them being hand in glove with them and pilferages happening. Many of us must have faced this also. I have been a victim of it. So now I know who all are we calling for, the bidding process. Why are the other people not being entertained? Why is it that only these 3 people are there when I have 20? And am I really giving it to L1? Why is the other two people not negotiating? All this kind of information I'm able to pull out of it, which is very relevant to me. So when I sit on this for half an hour in my office every week, the kind of questions that I'm able to ask and the thing, it gives me information which makes me alert also. So it also gives me a vendor performance when I'm not doing purchase. It's giving me data of how many orders each of my purchase team members is placing. So I'm able to see who's my strongest link, who's my weakest link, what is the kind of value I'm doing. I know every week what is the kind of, value of orders that I'm placing. Helps my cash flow. So these kind of things we're able to do to save costs. And I think, so by using these apps, what's happened is that this circle has happened. One is that since there is trust on the system, there is trust on people. Once there is trust on people, the team spirit has gone high. Once the team spirit is high, we are able to give them we are able to empower them, like I said about check signing. That motivates them. Since they are motivated, they are taking daily decisions which don't need to come to me. That's freed up my time. So now I can focus more on growing the business rather than on my daily, pain points. And that again goes back to the control through technology. So this is the loop that we have finished using technology. And that is why I wanted to bring those 3 people in as well. And with that, I end my presentation.
Good morning, sir. I'm Yash Chaudhary from CREDAI Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. So, sir, my question is that how is the performance of the buildings constructed with My1 formwork better than pre-engineered buildings?
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Performance-wise, each will have its pros and cons.
The question is that is the technology that you're using a perfect fit for the product that you're delivering? There may be a lot of things you need to take into consideration before deciding whether you want to go the prefab way or the my one way. Like for example, there is a building in Coimbatore which is a hospital, which they wanted to finish in 4 months flat. My one was not going to make that happen. Prefab was. But the criteria here was that I want the building in 4 months. Okay. So those are the decisions that impact the technology, because prefab is also expensive. It doesn't come at a reasonable price yet. So we need to take these calls based on what is our end goal and what we want out of that project.
Yes.
So what is the quality difference in a building if it is made with formwork versus a traditional building? I mean, some people say that the heat absorption in the building is far greater as compared to the regular conventional construction. Is it correct? And there are other construction related issues which not many people are aware. Since you are used formwork so extensively, can you tell us the disadvantages of using the formwork?
So the thing is that when we started using conventional methods itself, we started moving away from natural cooling, things like that. Like I'm sure, some of us went to schools that were made with stone buildings and Kota tiles. And even in the most peak summer, there was a fan which was, whether it was working or no, it was only making noise. But we felt cool. Okay. So we have already decided to move that step that way. The difference between why my one buildings are more, you feel more heat in them is because there's more concrete around you. If I had to just tell it in layman language, because there is no brickwork, all external walls, internal walls, everything is concrete. And all of that concrete is absorbing heat and dissipating that heat. So the warmth comes anyways. And that is why you're feeling this difference. The thing is that today, the way construction is happening, cities like Mumbai, Pune, we don't have a choice but to do these kind of newer technologies. Because we don't have labor that can work on the 50th floor. We don't have labor that can work on the 31st floor, hanging from the outside to do plaster and painting. So we want to eliminate certain trades of work which are difficult to do on external faces of the building. And therefore, my one has become preferred.
So second question, what is the cost of construction, finished building as per the chart showed for you, and finish cost less than 70 meters and less than 120 meters per square foot? Both options.
Yeah.
You get chargeable area and construction area.
So I'll tell you on saleable area. If you want on slab area, you can just, reduce that by, the loading is typically 1.35 over here. So for the costing that we did, the presentation that I made, the average price came to around 3,560 rupees for the 70-meter building. Okay.
And for the
that is
120
including GST.
120?
For 120, it will go up by around 20%.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. This is Mahesh Navanda from Latur. My question is, for every project, you first prepare an estimate and then you do the work. So how often do you recommend to reconcile? Like whether is it monthly, quarterly or weekly? Like what is the right way to reconcile everything? And secondly, what are your observations regarding the difference between the estimated cost and the actual cost? Like in percentage maybe, like it varies with 1% or 8-10%.
So my case is a little different. I have to tell you this upfront, but I'll give you an answer to your question. my estimation is done in-house because I have a contracting business, which is my bread and butter business, and real estate. So estimation is a very critical part of our business because you cannot win any tenders unless you come L1. And so, having said that, what SAP allows me to do, and the way I am able to reconcile on SAP is after 10 years of constantly troubling the entire IT department in my office to get it, we are reconciling every slab. Every slab that happens, we are able to reconcile it. Now, whether you want to or no, that is up to you. But we try to drill down to the last nail. Since our top management are all engineers, we are little mad. So we, as much as sales and marketing matters, product may we will spend disproportionately larger amount of time because of that. And because of all these things, the evolution has happened from where we were saying that we'll reconcile every quarter, then we said every 45 days. And then that kept coming down, and one day we said, why can't we do it for it? I want it every week, what happens? Let's see. In 45 days, anything can happen. So ideally, most people are doing it on a quarterly basis. Some people are doing it on a yearly basis also. But we have a different system just because we're mad. That's it.
We can take one last question.
या सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि सिस्टम्स और एसओपीज इम्प्लीमेंट करना हो कंपनी में तो उसके लिए हमने क्या करना चाहिए, कोई कंसल्टेंट्स की हेल्प लेनी चाहिए या क्या करना चाहिए?
सो सिस्टम्स एंड एसओपी आज के तारीख में ना सबसे बेस्ट पार्ट ये है कि मोस्ट ऑफ आवर वेंडर्स हैव मेथड स्टेटमेंट्स. हम पूछते नहीं हैं उनको. अगर हमारे पास अच्छे वेंडर्स हैं, उनके पास उनका पूरा सिस्टम रहता है, वही हमें लेना है और करना है. As far as checklist for sites are concerned, I think CREDAI has put out lot of checklists, and those can be part of your SOP की site पे ये हर चीज़ कैसे करना है. I think Abhishek Bhattewara or someone had done it last year from the youth wing. So I think that if you can connect Abhishek to him, so those are things you can use to start off. Secondly, फिर SOP करना ही है तो इट शुड बी फॉर द एंटायर सर्कल. फिर मार्केटिंग का क्या SOP है, HR का क्या SOP है, एडमिन का क्या है, फाइनेंस का क्या है, एंड साइट का क्या है. ये हर एक चीज़ का हम लोग SOP लेके आएंगे. देन यू विल रन योर कंपनी लाइक अ कॉर्पोरेट. वंस यू आर रनिंग योर कंपनी लाइक अ कॉर्पोरेट, देन यू विल बी एबल टू टेक सर्टन डिसीजंस की ये सब चीज़ मैं डेलीगेट कर सकता हूँ. बट नथिंग विल हैपन ओवरनाइट. इट टेक्स टाइम. If you start today, it'll take you at least a year minimum before you can get somewhere.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
For the questions, and so thank you so much for that insightful presentation. We'd like to felicitate you, and for the same, I request Mr. Kshitish Mahajan and Mr. Pradeep Khairnar to join us on stage. Let's give him a huge round of applause, everybody.